So, will you introduce yourself and your role at your cidery?
Yeah, I'm Sean Harris with Serpentine Cider. I'm the founder, cider maker, plumber, electrician, janitor, everything.
Jack of all trades. Jack of
Yeah,
all
master
trades.
of none. Yeah, hopefully master of one. This one. Yeah.
Master of this one, right? So, what's the story behind your cidery? Like, where is it located? How long have you been in business? Like, why? Why cider?
Why cider? Oh, so many. We'll start with the easy stuff.
Yeah.
We've been around for about 7.5 years now. So we survived COVID so far. Um, and we're in San Diego, right by the Miramar Air Base. We have some ideas of expanding out again to different parts of San Diego, and hopefully we're going to get some distribution into LA and Vegas is where I'm from, and Arizona as well.
Okay.
We do well since we do drier stuff. We do well in the warm weather climate.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
Serpentine cider goes well in
Yeah.
the desert.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, why cider? Why did you decide to open a
Cider.
cidery?
I started making cider about 14, 15 years ago now. And I did because I moved from Vegas to San Diego. In Vegas 15 years ago, we didn't know what beer was. There was no beer scene. You drink cocktails and mixed drinks and shots, and that's it. So I moved to San Diego and was like, oh, beer is awesome. I love this stuff. This is really good craft beer. The girlfriend that I moved here with, she had celiac disease, and she wasn't able to drink this wonderful craft beer that I was able to drink. So she was stuck drinking really sweet, syrupy, mass-produced cider that she hated, but she was in her early 20s, so you do what you have to do. And me being the most amazing boyfriend I am, I took my science background. I was like, I know fermentation science. I can make this. This is easy. It's just fermented apple juice. And I did it, and it was terrible. But we drank every little bit of that terrible stuff. And then
Because you put money into it,
exactly. And it was, yeah, at that point it was free. So and then I kept going, and it started getting better and better, and I started learning more. And then after about 5 years of doing that, I figured, hey, San Diego doesn't have a cidery. You know, they have some stuff up in the mountains with Julian, but they don't have a cidery in town. So I will be the first. And then I decided to do it, and then Newtopia
right?
got me.
You weren't quite fast enough in
I was
opening
not
your
fast
doors.
enough. But good for them because they helped me do, some stuff that I didn't know what I was doing. So
Yeah.
Rick really helped me because he had a couple months of making cider on the large scale. Because when you go from a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket in your living room in Pacific Beach, it's a little different than doing which on our scale is huge at that point. It was 15 barrels.
Is what you were doing when you first started.
Yeah, now that's my test batch. I do 15-barrel test batches.
And the test batches you just put out into the tap room for people to try, and you're like, oh, I hope you like this, and then adjust it from there before you like.
I do all my ciders by taste, so I taste test way more than pretty much any cider maker that I know of.
Good excuse.
Which is great, which is why we have 3 couches in the back right here, because I definitely have to take little siestas after our taste testing sometimes.
Yeah.
And I taste a lot. I grew up learning to cook a lot. I love cooking, and I do my cider making similar to how I cook. I tell everyone that making beer is like baking. You have a recipe, you follow that recipe exactly, and then you put it in the fermenter. Is like putting it into the oven. Whatever pops out, pops out. That's what you get. Cider, how I make it is more like cooking. You taste it. You say, oh, it needs a little bit more salt, and you throw a little stuff in there. And say, oh, it needs a little more acid. You throw that acid in there. It needs a little more tannins. So I just keep testing and testing and testing until it's exactly the way I want it, which is great because it gets exactly what I want every time. But it is not great to ever leave this place because I can't hire someone to have my palate.
Yeah, to taste what you're tasting.
I have my recipes written down, but when you're using real fruit like we do, it changes. Like if you
Yeah.
bite into a guava, which guava is one of our main flavors. If you bite into a guava, sometimes they're really juicy and guavy and just really flavorful, and other times they don't taste like anything.
Yeah.
So if you're using that fruit and you have a recipe, sometimes it's not going to taste exact. Sometimes you'll need more, sometimes you'll need less. So we start on the less end and then taste test and add and add and add, because you can never take away. You can always add.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we do it. And I remember my assistant cider maker, one of his very first day, started at 7:30 in the morning, and he came in all bright eyed and was like, "Oh, what do we do?" And I was like, "We drink. We're gonna taste test all these right now."
Started out with a yes,
yeah,
and then
thought it was
like,
a great idea until 10
no
o'clock in the morning.
and he's like, "It's 10, and I'm buzzed."
Mm-hmm.
And then everything tastes good after that.
Exactly.
And then you have to take a break.
That's the problem. And yes, you have to take a break, and that's when these couches come in.
Yeah, you're like, let me take a siesta, and perfect in San Diego. So speaking of the way that you make cider, what makes your cider like special or unique from other ciders?
We will never use artificial flavoring. Flavor is really big with me. Being in San Diego, we love our different fresh fruits, our citrus, our guavas, our passion fruit, pineapples, all those things. And our traditional apple doesn't sell very well. I love it because that's really what got me into cider making. But the customers really like other flavors, so I like to be able to give that to them. So I will never produce a cider with artificial flavors, any of that stuff. We use real fruits. I try to get as many fruits from people's yards as I can. Down here is a little difficult to get some fruits, but guavas and passion fruits grow like weeds here, so I am able to get as many of those as I can. We've gotten a lot bigger now than we were at the beginning. The beginning, I would trade people growlers of cider for just boxes of fruit. People would come in with a random fruit, and they still do, just not as often. They'd come in with random, 5 boxes of fruit, and I would give them 5 growlers of cider.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there you go. And people would come by with weird stuff, and I would say, sure. And it forced me to try something. Remember one guy came in with 50 pounds of turmeric root.
Okay.
I was like, what?
I'm a big fan of turmeric right now. It's like supposed to be anti-inflammatory.
It's starting to get good stuff now.
Yeah.
But this was 6 years ago, and I had no idea. All I knew is at that time, one of my good friends, he was my roommate, and he's Indian, and he cooks with turmeric a lot. So I was like, oh, what should I do with this? And he said, well, I would say you blend it, clean it really well, blend it, and I would do coconut and lime. Coconut, turmeric, and lime, and it was fantastic. I would have done that if someone didn't randomly come in with 50 pounds of turmeric.
That's amazing.
And it didn't sell very well. They didn't know what they were missing, but every time I gave it to someone, they loved it.
They loved it, and they were like, okay, I'm going to drink this. But it's the getting a customer to try something new.
If they don't really know what.
Now, you know what? I think if you made it now, it probably would do well, because it's like coming up in like the health food, like.
I agree. Yeah. So just before you came here, I was on my phone looking at a lot of my old recipes and what I wanted to redo, and that came up, and I put it on my to-do list.
You're like, I'm going to try another turmeric
So we're
going
to try to do that again, just to see, because that was a very small batch back then, but now we'll do a bigger batch and see how it does.
See how it does. So do you source most of your fruit and are you getting juice or apples or juice? I'm
all
assuming.
Over the place. Yeah. Apples is juice, so they press it up in your neck of the woods.
Okay, you're getting it from Washington area?
Washington, Oregon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my whole family, and where I'm from originally before Vegas, is Oregon. Mm-hmm. So I need any excuse to go up and check out apples, and we
visit some
orchards. So we get them from the Willamette Valley mostly. Yeah. But also in Washington. Yeah. They ship it down to us, and I thought of it for a half second when I first started this to press them myself, and I'm glad that we didn't, because That's a lot of work.
You need a lot more space to
You
do
do.
that, and just like manpower and hours, and the apples are coming to you, and you don't know what condition they're going to be in and how long they've been on. Yeah.
And you can't scale up as well with that because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the
and
people
space.
who do it I hold them in very high regard.
Yeah.
I used to do it, and I still do it every once in a while just for fun. But we scaled up to each batch that we do now is 180 barrels.
Okay.
Which is around 500,000 apples.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be able to. We would
Where
never
would you store
have been able to scale that high. So yeah, we get juice shipped down to us, but our other fruit that we use to fruit our ciders, we will always use either fresh fruit or a puree that is made from fresh fruit.
Okay. We were in the tap room earlier, and I mean, you have a good number of ciders on tap. It seems like you have maybe some core ciders that are always available, and then like, how many ciders do you think you've made in like this? It's got to be a lot.
So actually, we up until not too long ago, only a few months ago, we would take our menus that were up on the wall, and they were little plaques of wood that we would burn what it was into it. And so we had to change that out every time we had a new cider. And I just put them in my office, and they just stacked up, and we flipped them over, and we used the back, and they just kept stacking and stacking. I checked them maybe 6 months ago, and there were over 200.
Yeah.
And there's some that I was like, I don't even remember.
You're like, it was a blip in.
Yeah. So yeah, I've made over 200 ciders.
Okay. And some come back.
Different flavors. Oh yeah.
Some you're like a one and done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's some that I make that they don't sell well, but I like them, so I make them again just to try and push them.
Yeah.
But there's some that are just one and done.
Yeah.
I never put something out that is not good. Sometimes it's not my favorite because we all have different palates. And, I don't like ginger, for example. Like I recognize that everybody else loves ginger except for me. So I make a few different types of ginger ciders, and every time I have to do that taste test, I'm like, oh,
you're like, I don't like this.
I don't like it, but
someone
likes it. And I know that it's done well, so I don't put it out unless it's done well. And if it isn't done well, then I make it into brandy. Okay. Which is that brandy that you tasted earlier.
That peach brandy, which was
it's a peach brandy. It was a peach cider that didn't turn out, and I took it down the street to a distiller, and he makes brandy out of it for me. He takes half of it and sells it as just straight brandy because I can't sell brandy.
Yeah.
But I can fortify ciders with it.
Okay, so you can make like an imperial cider with.
Yeah, I can make
with the brandies that you have made from a cider that you were like, this isn't fit to be put out into the market, but it would make a great addition to a different cider.
And like the one that we had, it's just for me.
For you. You're like, this is my personal
I can't sell that, so I just drink it.
You're like, this is what I need to remember why I like to do this.
Yeah, so he will make brandy for me, and then we are able to do all kinds of fun stuff with the brandy, and that opens up an entire new level of things that we can do is fortify ciders with our brandies.
So you have the tap room, you do keg sales, and then crowlers. Is there like packaged materials coming out, or has it been something that's been in your mind as far as
packaged materials are not fun?
Yeah.
We do 4-packs, and we sell them in San Diego County, and we have sold them at the tasting room. They're expensive, and it's a lot of work. So we don't do them too often, but that's on the list of my partners, and my sales team really want me to do that more.
Yeah.
But I still am in I do this business because I enjoy it, and running a canning line for 10 hours a day every day is not something I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to do this.
Yeah.
needless to say, I'm not the money guy in our partnership. The money guy wants me to do
He's
that.
like, we should do it in cans and bottles, and you're like,
we
but
will.
I just want to make cider.
But
yeah,
it really, what I like is being able to do crowlers of to-go stuff with whatever's on the menu, because we change our menu so often. Every week I will have a new cider on.
How long is it from like beginning of production to like being ready to go on tap for you?
It depends on the cider.
Yeah.
So our core ciders, I've been doing them literally since we started. They're the first ones that we've done, and they're going to be on tap almost all the time. And I can make those in my sleep. I can do them very quickly after, with fermentation and everything. It'll take 2.5 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
But then I've done some that have taken upwards of 3 months to do, because of that taste testing, just constantly, it needs something, it needs this, so we'll just do this. Oh no, it needs, and then we'll start. Oh, we'll let it sit for a couple of days, let my palate, cleanse itself, and then we'll start again and
see if we like it again.
It takes, so when it's new, it takes a little while, and especially if it's really weird. There's one in particular that took a long time. We'll never make it again because it was way too expensive, and it was something that I was goaded into doing by my assistant cider maker. He didn't really goad me, and he just told me that I could not make a cider that tasted like a Bloody Mary. And
okay.
I was like, well, challenge. Okay.
Challenge accepted.
And it took about 3 months, but I made an amazing cider that was way too expensive for me to make. We probably didn't make much money off of it, but it tasted just like a Bloody Mary, and it had, I think, 17 ingredients in it. It was amazing. I was in our kitchen sauteing fresh tomatoes, just a ton of fresh tomatoes, horseradish root, celery, salt, just everything that's in a Bloody Mary. And we made our own Worcestershire sauce.
Okay.
Whatever, no one
it's like
can
the
say
word
that
is Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce.
Yes.
This helps.
Well, let's add lots of syllables to this word.
Yeah, so we made our own sauce and put it in there. And it was really, really good, but it took way too long and way too expensive. But I did it because I was told that I couldn't do it.
Then you're like, I'm going to try it. Innovation is where you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of like off, or not off, but odd flavors. I mean, I already finished it, but pickle cider, like I will say, like it had all the elements of a pickle. Like it was briny and salty and dilly and all of that. Do you have any like funny stories like of things you tried to make, or like flavors that just like you really wanted to do it and you just couldn't? Like the Bloody Mary you did, a dill pickle you did. 6 years ago I was here and you had a peanut butter and jelly cider that was like, it was like eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, have you made things like that where you like really want to do it and it just didn't work out?
Let's see. I have. I can't remember too many of them because I work on them until they
work.
Turn out. There was
even
one,
if it takes 3 months.
Actually, now that I think, there was one that didn't turn out, and I don't particularly like smoky beers.
Okay.
But 7 years ago, smoky beers were all the rage.
Okay.
Like the different smoked stouts and all these things. So I was like, I'll make I have a smoker.
Yeah.
So we have, a barbecue place. So I was like, oh, well, I'll use the smoker and we'll smoke pineapple. They smoke pineapple, which sounds great. Smoked pineapple is amazing. And then I didn't stop at smoked pineapple. I was adding more things. So I was like, well, it's smoked pineapple, so it's kind of like a stout, so let's make it black. So I wanted to make it black, so I added activated charcoal.
Okay.
And a couple of other things. And then I was like, oh, well, I didn't want to stop there. So I kept adding, and then I didn't stop at the right time, which is something that artists, and I think that, like what we do is an art, artists tend to do sometimes. They don't know when to stop putting paint on canvas.
You can add, but you can't take away.
Exactly.
We discussed this earlier.
Yeah, you can always add. You can't take away. And so, there's times where I've gone too far, and that's when I call up the distiller.
And you're like, okay, I'm turning this over to you.
But that one, I knew that some people would like it. And
Okay.
I sold it and I prefaced it like 90% of people will not like it, but the 10% that do are going to love
it.
And they did.
Yeah. I've tried a couple smoky ciders and a pommeau that was a smoke, like a smoke one. It's got that peatiness to it where you're like, this is like a peaty bog, you know, and it can be really good, but it also can be like just blow your palate and you're like, I don't want.
That's what I think
it's a sipper. Like I just want.
That's what I think the fortified brandy ciders go well because you can sip it, take a little bit of it. This one wasn't that. We're trying to do full pours of this thing that would just blow your palate out.
And you're like, I can't drink anything else ever now. I just need to go home and go to bed.
Yep.
That's what I need to do. So when you're making your ciders, do you have like a certain apple base that you're using for them? What kind of apples are you using?
We do. We have an apple base. We use about 6 different types of apples, 7 usually, actually. And they're all dessert apples.
Okay.
They're dessert apples because getting cider apples over here, especially on the West Coast, you can get it in the East Coast. Shipped over from England and France, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But over here, it's really expensive.
There's a small amount of them. I mean, the Pacific Northwest has a good amount, but they are holding on to them, and they are like, you can't have our apples. These are for us.
A lot of people right before COVID started to plant cider apples.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and a lot of them either went under or they held on to them for a little bit. And it takes 5 years to get them to even start producing.
Mm-hmm.
So right around now is we're going to start getting some more cidery apples. But I like using what we have because using a dessert apple that you can get from the store is really cool when people come in and you can say, yeah, these are from apples that you can get in the store.
Yeah. So it's not special. It's not. I mean, it is special, but it's not.
We make it special because of our craft.
Yeah.
It's not because of the apple that makes it. We make it.
What we did to it. So, if you had to pick a favorite apple, of any apple, it could be a culinary apple, it could be a cider apple, whichever. Like, which one would you pick?
Actually, I just got back from New Zealand last night, and New Zealand had some amazing apples. I knew that they had really good apples. I've been told stories, but when we left, the day we left, we went to a farmer's market that was right by the National Museum, which was right by the airport. So we hit the farmer's market, and the last thing that I ate in New Zealand was a fresh, crisp apple from there. And I can't even remember what it was called because I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
But the person running the farmer's market said that it was his favorite apple, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was so good that at the airport I didn't eat food because I still
You're like, I want this flavor forever.
And that was the last thing that I ate in New Zealand, and it was amazing.
Yeah. I don't know where I heard it from. I mean, maybe it was I did my Pomelier certification recently, and you have to study forever for it and learn about all these apples. And I didn't realize that like apple cultivation and like and creating new types of apples was so big in New Zealand. And there's a scientist over there who like grafts and creates and like meshes these apples together and then creates them and like sends them all over the world. And I'm like, okay. like it's like WSU up in Washington. That's like a huge apple cultivar. I mean, they made like the Cosmic Crisp, like they create these new breeds of apples, and the same thing is happening in New Zealand.
Yeah,
like it's not something that you would think is a thing, and then it is, and you're like,
if you're like a crazy mad scientist, that's exactly what they do. They are the mad scientists of the culinary world. And the good thing with apples is you can graft onto it from old
whatever
old
root
trees,
stock,
whatever. And apples, how they work is like if if you can find an old orchard, that's a new species.
Yeah.
And then if you graft something onto that, and then you hybridize those, you can create all kinds of cool things.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to do that. And I know someone in town does a lot of that stuff. Have you talked to Dave
at Raging? Yeah.
He is the mad scientist.
Yeah, but he's like got his little orchard, and he's like, I'm gonna make what I can make. Actually, it's funny because there's a Dave in Washington who from Alma Cider who also is like has an orchard, and he's all about the grafting and like the getting the cider apples, and it's so. I mean, cider people are nerds. We are wonderful people. I think cider people are the best people. I always say it. Yeah. Speaking of scientists, aren't you? Isn't that your first
I am a scientist.
Your first thing is that you were a scientist?
Yes. So I am a herpetologist. I study snakes, lizards, tortoises, all that kind of stuff in Serpentine Cider.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was trying to think of cidery names, my business partner and I, she's also a scientist, a herpetologist. We were out in the desert looking for desert tortoises, and we were talking about names for the cidery, and Serpentine Cider was on there, and there were a couple other names. As we were talking, I stepped on a sidewinder rattlesnake. And fortunately, it was too cold for it to strike. It was trying to warm up. It was really early. It was too cold to strike, but it wasn't too cold to get really, really angry. And it got angry and was rattling. And, after 10 minutes of me cursing and screaming and yelling and thinking that I should be rushing to the hospital, I was like, well, it's Serpentine Cider is what it's got to be.
Yeah.
I just stepped on a snake.
It's almost like a sign.
And on that same job a few weeks before, our buddy stepped on the same species of rattlesnake and got bit, and he was in the hospital for 2 weeks. So I should have been in the hospital for 2 weeks, but instead I got a name for the cidery.
For a cidery. And like you see, I mean, I don't know if people, you can see if you're watching, and you make these, right?
I did make those, yeah.
Yeah, the flight boards are a snake, and then you can, I'll lift it up for people to see, but it holds it in.
Yeah, my dad and I made pretty much everything at our cidery. All the tables and chairs, the kitchen, the cold box, everything, the bar, we made.
Which is why you weren't the first cidery to open.
That's true, yeah. Because
it takes a while to make this stuff.
Don't do that. Hire people. It's so much easier.
So what advice would you have for somebody who's going into the cider industry?
Oh, my.
Whether it be as a cider maker or just like they want to just be more involved in it. Like, what advice would you have?
The biggest thing is don't compromise on what makes you different. Our cidery is different for a few reasons, and I want to keep that way.
Yeah.
If you do have to compromise on some things, because we're a business, you have to stay in business to make good cider. Especially through COVID, we had to do some things that, like cutting hours and doing all that stuff. You have to stay in business, but have a line. Our line is we will never use artificial flavorings, all that stuff. Like, that's the line. If I have to go below that line to stay in business, then there's something wrong with our business model.
Yeah.
I will never go below that line. Going below that line is worse than going out of business for me. Yeah. So I would prefer to go out of business than to make bad cider.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Okay.
So, stick to your guns, and also find somebody to help you. Like, it's a hard job. It's being an entrepreneur and a owner of a business is very difficult. Doing it yourself is even more so. So find someone who hates everything you like and partner with them, because they will do everything that you hate. I have recently partnered up with somebody just a few months ago who does all of our business stuff, does all of our books, loves doing everything business. Everything I hate. They're great at. And I wish that I had that person when I first started, because it would have made everything easier. But I wanted to do everything myself. I was like, I can do all this myself. You can't do it yourself.
Yeah, you need somebody
help
to balance you out.
And it's not bad to have someone to help you out.
What do you hope, like what's your hope or vision for like cider as an industry for the future?
I hope that I hope craft cider continues to do well, and we keep getting more new cideries. Because when you get new, hungry people coming into any type of business, that forces you, as I guess I'm an old guy in this business now, as it forces me as an old guy to continue pushing boundaries and not be complicit in making the same stuff over and over. It forces me to learn some new things and say, hey, I just tasted this insanely good cider that's made by some up and coming person, and I want to talk to them and learn how they did that and what made them want to do that, and just converse with people. And it's really nice to have this type of community where you can talk to people and learn from them. Like, they're technically our competitors, but we're all in this together and we learn from each other.
It's a conversation I've had a lot of, that cider is one of those industries where everybody supports each other.
Yeah.
They're like, I will tell you exactly how I made this thing because you're going to do it and it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like, let's spread the love of cider all over. And like, I'm a cider maker in Washington or Oregon, and I'm going to give my tips and tricks to somebody in San Diego. Like, our clientele are not the same people.
They're not the same people, and it's an art. I'm a scientist, but this is an art, and I can give you my exact recipe, and you will not make the same thing. No, it won't be the same.
You don't have the same air. You don't have the same like conditions. You don't have.
It's all different, and fortunately, most cider makers and owners of cideries realize that is different, and we all talk to one another. We all hang out. Like I said, Rick from Newtopia, he helped me make my first batch of large-scale cider because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
I was
you're going from
a,
here to
a 5-gallon bucket in my house, this big system, and he helped me do it.
Yeah.
And technically, I was his first competitor.
Yeah,
and
but somehow, you find a way to bring each other up, and what you're doing and what he's doing are different from each other, and you're in different places and different, customers that are coming in. And
at that point in time, there was I think 165 breweries in San Diego. And
it was like the craft beer, like that was mecca for a long time.
Yeah.
Like craft beer, I feel like, I don't know if it started in San Diego, but it like came out from here. Like I mean, I lived here in the early 2000s, and like there was a lot of beer.
Yeah. There was a lot of beer, still is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, COVID has taken its toll on some of the great ones, because small anything is hard to do. And something like COVID that just takes out the small guys. And unfortunately, some of my favorite breweries didn't make it through COVID, but those brewers have moved on to other places. And they moved on, and they've honed their craft and just made better and better.
Yeah.
So I followed the brewers
to where they're
places.
going.
Yeah.
Where they're going. Yep. Who makes a cider that you wish you made?
Oh, that's a good question, because I make a certain style of cider, and my style has honed itself since I've opened Serpentine Cider. When I was making cider at home, it was different than what I'm making now. And my first batch of cider at the large scale at Serpentine is different than it is now, because I've listened to our customers who say they want more of this, they want more like fruit forward stuff, which when I started, I've always focused on lower sugar ciders. And lower sugar tends to mean that you ferment out the fruit sugars, the fructose, in the fruits, so you don't get as much of the flavor. But people wanted that flavor, so I was able to figure out how to get that flavor with still having low sugar. But for me, I really like the wild fermented ciders, just the punch you in the face kind of stuff that my clientele would not like.
Yeah, like from in this area, like it would not sell.
And I don't make that, so it's okay, but I drink that.
Yeah.
So raging cider is one of my favorites. I love everything that Dave makes, and I drink a lot of it, which is really fun. But I really like raging cider and mead cider just because it's funky. It's whatever happens.
Yeah.
I kind of, I toy with my ciders a lot, and he's just like, he lets the apple do its thing.
Yeah.
He is such an apple nerd that he wants the apple to express its own creativity. I'm sure he will have all kinds of things to say about it.
Yeah.
They're much more eloquent than what I have, but he likes the apple to express what it is going to express and what it's going to taste like, and I really appreciate that, and I like that a lot. It's not anything that I could ever make, but it's something that I love.
That you appreciate. Yeah. I can understand that. Okay, I have 2 more questions for you, and they're kind of like on opposite like spectrums. So the first one, we're gonna start with like, what is something about like working in cider, your job, that you dislike, you hate? You're like, if I could like push this on anybody else, I would.
Oh, it's what I pushed on my new partner three months ago. Yeah,
you're like, take all the
business side of everything. You
don't want to see another spreadsheet ever.
I don't want to do spreadsheets. I don't want to deal with the whole reason why I started a cidery is to make good cider, and to do what I enjoy. And I do not enjoy running numbers and doing spreadsheets and doing all that kind of stuff, and just running a business. I actually don't enjoy owning a business.
You're like, I just want to make the cider. Just let me make cider.
So now my new partner says, go back in there. Go back to the production area. You don't come out here. You stay there. So, and that's what I like. I like having someone that can help me with those things that I'm bad at. And I didn't know I was bad at that. I'm a scientist, so I love numbers. I'm very good at math. I do all that stuff. But I really found out that I do not like running a business. So I brought in someone who does. And he's helping out a lot.
That's amazing. So the second question is on the opposite spectrum of that, of what do you love about your job? What's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning that you're like, it just brings you joy, sparks you joy as part of this industry?
Being creative, being able to come to the cidery in the morning, not knowing what I'm going to do, and find something that inspires me to make some kind of different cider.
Like a butterbeer cider.
Like a butterbeer cider, which is my least favorite cider that I make, because it's not on the sweeter side. It is sweet.
Yeah.
It is butterbeer.
It's kitschy. It's for a certain thing.
It's a Harry Potter thing that we're doing for a trivia night, and people love it. I hate it.
You're like, it's my least favorite, but they like it.
Butterscotch and all kinds of. There's not a butterscotch plant with a butterscotch fruit out there, so it is not the traditional style that I like. But it forces me to do something that I'm outside of my comfort zone, which is really nice, and that's kind of things that I like to do, and I like to push myself to do new things
and be creative.
Yeah. So doing our core ciders, not fun.
Yeah. It's like the day-to-day, like, okay, we're gonna do it.
We'll do these. It's got to get done, but I want to try something new. I want to find a new fruit, or someone to come in with a lot of something from their garden.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't even think about. Like what I'm drinking now is a juniper sage cider. Not very traditional style of cider. But being from Oregon, I love juniper. It brings me back home.
Those juniper trees are...
Yeah, like Central Oregon's where I'm from, in the Bend area.
Okay.
It reminds me of home.
We were just there. My son plays lacrosse, and we were there for a lacrosse tournament last summer, and they were like, what are all these trees like around here? I'm like, those are juniper trees. Like, you could see the berries. I'm like, these are juniper trees, and they're just hundreds of years. They're huge.
Did you trick them into eating a berry?
I did not.
Oh,
can you eat them and they're fine?
No, they're terrible.
I mean, like you won't die.
You will likely not die.
Okay, so I might have
Don't
to.
do that.
We're going there again this summertime. I have to pick one of them and
It's
eat
like
it.
the old
But,
trick
like,
where you make them
yeah.
like drink vanilla because it smells so good.
And then
tastes terrible.
It doesn't. Okay, well I might have to do that. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Cheers for coming on and sharing your story with everyone. If people want to find you and your cidery, like socials, location, like what should they do?
Yeah, jump online, serpentinecider.com, social medias, everything Serpentine Cider. We're trying to expand to get into different bars and restaurants and more of the LA area, the Vegas, and the Arizona areas.
Awesome.
But hit us up, and if you're in California, we can ship stuff out to you.
Awesome.
But nowhere else yet.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Definitely.